Um, a few things. One thing is try to sit there and relax for a while. When muscles are relaxed, you are going to be more prone to be more successful at this. The other thing is when you make the markings, just put your charcoal on the paper, just lay it there, not put any pressure on it, and see where you want to go with it. Just follow the path and where you want to end the stroke. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to put your charcoal down here, see where you want to go, maybe do a practice run like this. We call it ghost line, and then once you know it, you just go ahead and execute the line. Don't look for perfection. Uh, I'm not perfect. I haven't been able to do perfect lines ever. It's the fact of life. The only thing that I did, I just adjusted my vision of what I wanted to create to according to my skills. It's the best thing you can do. Don't go over your head right away. Don't go over complicated subjects. It's not going to help you at all. Right now, you want some inexpensive paper, such as newsprint, piece of charcoal, and that's all. Because after doing this for a while, plus other exercises, you're really going to start gaining control over your line. And as you gain control over this, you are going to feel a lot better about yourself, and you will be able to sketch and come up with different drawings. Plus, in my exercises, you will always end up with a nice little sketch that you can be proud of and maybe surprised that you have done it. So I hope you enjoy the video, and leave me a few comments. A like will be nice, and I will be hopefully seeing you again. Happy practice. But first, let me explain you what we'll be working with. Paper, this is newsprint. Newsprint is one of the cheapest paper you can buy. It's non-archival, so it will turn yellow and deteriorate. But that's okay, because this is paper that we want to use to exercise, to practice, to experiment, to learn. So we don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, we just wasted 25 cents or 30 cents on a piece of paper just for exercising. I have two types of charcoals. The one I prefer is this, the Woodless. I like the paper wrap because you can expose as much as of charcoal than you need to, than you like. I like that very much. What I do to create a point on this side of my tray has sandpaper. So here I can just sand it down until I create, the tip that I desire. So there is, it's very versatile. Another type of charcoal we have is kind of like compressed charcoal, and they're usually square, and they come also in light, soft, or medium hardness, just like the pencils. And I have an assortment of different willow charcoals, different types of compressed charcoal. Years ago, I bought a lot of charcoal, and that's what I'm using. So I have no idea exactly what brand it is or whatever. All I can tell you is there's some that I like, some that I don't. And as you experiment, which you should, you'll figure out what is going to work for you. And the last tool here is my kneaded eraser. Very important. This eraser, we don't use it to erase mistakes. I use it more like to lift charcoal off the paper, or to draw, create highlights, and so forth. So those are the very simple tools. It only takes a little time to get it set up anywhere in the house, and then you're ready to go. So whenever you are in the mood, it's very set up. So what we're going to do first, we're going to remember this is an exercise, but just to make it a little more interesting for you, I decided to make a little landscape. So that's where we're going to be working a landscape. So first of all, we're going to try to create a line, create a little frame around it, okay? The way I do it is either freehand like this, just one continuous line, or if you can't do that, just divide it in segments until you go all the way across the paper. And here I rest my finger on the edge of the paper and I just drag the tip of my charcoal all the way down to where I need to stop. Same thing on the opposite, on the bottom line. I do the same thing. My fingers resting there on the paper and I just drag this. Look how beautiful it is. And this one here is not going to be so beautiful because I had to do it by hand and I'm not very good at doing straight lines, which is okay. That is part of the another. You should feel good about this. I've been sketching for 30 some years and my hands don't allow me to do straight lines, and it used to bother me. But then I just came to realize, and hey, you know what? It's okay. I can still do my art. I can still do the stuff I want to. What we need to do, we need to adjust to what we want to do to according to our skills of what we can do. So the first, what we're going to do now, we're going to remember this is an exercise about creating muscle memory. So we're going to try to do straight lines all the way across the paper, just like this, not too slow, not too fast, and I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the paper. This is just gliding on top of the paper. So this is how we're going to get used to create straight lines. Now another thing I want to point you, look at my hand. My wrist hasn't moved. Okay, it's important that this from the elbow all the way to the tip of my charcoal is only one solid piece, doesn't move. The more pieces you have moving here, the more chances you will have to not be too successful with what you're doing. If you get used to holding the charcoal from the back like this, and another thing that is good, if you do it too hard, it's going to break. So you know that you have to adjust. You have to be gentle. This is really going to help you do this psychologically, because that if you are not going to be light, you are going to break another piece of charcoal. So you just hold it very light. I'm putting very little pressure with my 3 fingers, and I'm just going back and forth, not moving my wrist at all. Okay, that's something, an important factor of this. Now, at times I had problems with a little bit of shaky hands, and I have experience where I haven't been able to do this straight. Okay, it's always been kind of like sort of like that, like just not the straight line I want to make. Don't worry about this. And here, what you're doing, you're just trying to get from one end of the paper to the other side. Just worry about that only, nothing else. Why? Because we're doing a little sea scene. Okay, this is going to be like a sunset over the water. I live here in the Gulf of Mexico, so this is my landscape. This is what I see, what I'm used to it. And this is so, charcoal is so forgiving. And the subject, what we're doing now, remember I said, just do something according to your skills, not to what you really want. If you get too complicated at first, you're not going to do this for very long, because you'll get discouraged. This way here, you start from the basics, and little by little, you're going to build confidence. Okay, then you can, I can do this. Look, I never thought I was going to be able to sketch a landscape, and now I'm sketching it. But look, you see, I'm going back and forth. I just want you to get used to that movement and light. Now, since this is kind of like a sunset, that's the water here, the darker, and then we're going to create, maybe here's like, a little bit, some waves coming into the sand, into the beach. And we're going to do the same thing with the sand. We're going to just go straight across. If I go over some of this, the white there for the waves, it doesn't matter. I can bring it back. I'm going to show you how we work that. Okay, so another good thing for another good tip for you is when you're doing this, squint your eyes. When you squint your eyes, you are going to be able to see nothing but values, tones of light and darks. Okay, you get rid of all of the fuzzy details. That is usually what intimidate us sometimes into approaching on certain subjects. But here we're just seeing, oh, okay, we have the sky, we have the water, we have maybe some waves, and there we have the beach. The sand is going to be similar to the tone of the sky in this exercise. Okay, the water is going to be the darkest. So when you squint, should be able to notice a line here. Okay, not a very well defined line, but a line there. Okay, and if you don't see it, just go back with your charcoal, back and forth. Another tip: when you move your charcoal, try to keep it in only one flat, in only one direction. Don't turn your charcoal like this. You see, I'm creating a tip there, chisel, and then when you lay it flat, you cover much more ground than if you have just the point. So that is another good tip to for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put my charcoal aside, and with my finger, make sure your finger is free of any moisture. You know, if you have hand lotion or is sweaty, try to get a tissue and dry it before you do this. And here I'm just going to very light, I'm going to blend this because this is the sky and I just want to see the tone. Okay, and we'll learn this in other videos in how we create tones, how we do, you know, dark and light. But here this exercise really is about line work, but at the same time I want you to finish a little, you know, sketch, a little landscape that you might be happy and amazed that you've done. So now I know that I need more darkness in the water, okay, for what I want to achieve. So I'm going to start doing the same thing. This time though, I'm putting a little more pressure on the charcoal. Okay, a little more pressure. Now, when you go back and forth like this, you're going to notice and you're going to skip some areas. Okay, don't worry about that. That's great because that, if you look in the ocean is never solid one color. You're going to have lights and darks. So this also helps create the illusion that, you know, that is the ocean, you know, moving the waves. And right here I'm going to start kind of like, see, escaping some, moving back and forth. But remember, the main object here is just for you to pay attention to the movement of going back and forth in the paper. Okay, and do your best to be straight. Like I said, doesn't have to be, but we're shooting for that. Okay, at least that's what I'm doing. I'm shooting for that. Okay, so you see I'm going to do this a little bit lighter, so maybe the sun or the moon is shining on part of these waves there by the water. Okay, so, and always there right by the water is going to be a little bit darker because the sand is wet, so you're always going to have some darker colors. Okay, there. Okay, back and forth, there. Okay, so now we're going to decide where we want to have our moon rise. We get the kneaded eraser, and the way you use this, you have to go stretch it out just like this until it gets warm. Once it gets warm, it's almost like Play-Doh, you see. And what it's doing at the same time is cleaning itself. So all of the charcoal you had on the surface is kind of like being absorbed by this material. I don't know where it goes, but I tell you, it starts getting lighter and lighter. If you notice the color, instead of being so dark as it was, it changes to a lighter gray. Okay, so now I'm going to just make a tip like like this, about like there, and now I have to decide where I want my moon to be. Okay, for composition's sake, okay, and then that's another different area that I'll discuss in another video. For composition's sake, you never want to place something right dead center, okay? It makes it too monotonous on both sides, so you want to create a little bit of an imbalance. So to do that, most of the time we choose to be close to the thirds. We have thirds, and we try to place them there. And here I'm just going to place my sun right in here, okay? And do your best. All I'm doing, I'm just going very light in a circular motion, okay? And you can see it, barely see it. Why? Because we don't have enough charcoal underneath. So what are we going to do here? We're going to darken the sky more. So this is how you learn to see values. You see, this is how you create your values. You learn to see them as you go. It's like, so if I want the moon to show up better, brighter, I need to have a darker background. So we are creating this dark background right now by adding more charcoal. Again, back and forth. Remember, that is the exercise. That is the main objective of this, not the pretty landscape we can come up with in the pretty sketch. We're learning here about the pressure, light, heavy, what it does, what happens in the paper when we apply that pressure, and at the same time we're learning how to hold the sticks, right, and how we can go back and forth across the paper. There. Okay, here I'm going to, let's say maybe we have some kind of cloud formation right here. So what I'm going to do, just to make it a little more interesting too, kind of like in an angle, you see, I'm kind of zigzagging around all the way to the end there. So this will be kind of maybe a big cloud right here. And this is going to help us with our sun also, or moon. Maybe it's another little cloud there. There, okay. On highlights, always put your darkest line below the highlight. You see, never above, because this shows you that the sun is reflecting on top of the wave, not on the bottom. You can turn now to the tip when you need something finer, and look what happens. You can create these finer lines, you see. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my eraser again, and I'm going to bring back the moon. So I'm going to move it a little bit. I think that was a little bit too close to the edge, so I'm going to move it a little bit closer to about here. How do you know exactly where to place it? Well, it's going to take some practice for you. That's all it takes. Okay, you see my moon is still not looking very round. And also, if you cannot make it perfectly round, you can do it. Just try to get something, a little circle or something, cut off circle, and just lift the paint, with the eraser. That way you can do that. Okay, so remember, we're painting water, so whatever is above is going to reflect on the water. Here we're going to make a little line. Okay, the way you do it, we create a little bit of a wedge, lay the eraser down, and just go across the horizon line like that. It doesn't have to go all the way across. It's going to be whatever is closer to the, to the side of the water. And since it's the moon, it's going to reflect all the way down pretty much. And what I'm doing here, you see, I'm reshaping my eraser, laying it down like this, and I'm dragging it very light. I'm not going to do it light. Okay, there. Now I go with my eraser the same kind of shape like this, and I'm just going to go through like I try to create the illusion that there's some little waves, they're being hit by stronger sunlight here. So here's also another line kind of exercise, and you can go back and forth on this. Okay, there. The main thing we want to do, we just want to lift a little bit of the charcoal, right, and create our reflection, right, like that. So with the eraser aside, pick up your charcoal again, and from the top, from below this time, from below here, we're going to start going down like this, and this time try to get the sharper tip, because these are going to be far away, so you're creating kind of like the illusion of the water, the waves, are running across, and you just skip some. You can hear I love the sound resisting the paper. That means it's creating some irregular shapes, just like what we want for the water. And I'm going to go a little bit farther here, because this area should be getting darker. It's farther away from the moon, from the light, so it's darker. You see, you make this area darker and everything start kind of coming this way. Also, this is getting too dark. You never want something too bright at the edge of the paper. Straight. Okay, so this kind of like is our first exercise. Now, to add a little more interest, look what I'm going to do. I just get another little point like this, okay, like this, and I'm just going to take a little bit of this charcoal off right here, just like this. Just tap and lift, and we have created our little sailboat that is in a hurry to get back, because it's getting dark, and soon it's not going to be able. And here I'm going to do it a little bit darker, and that's all you need. You see, just to showcase a boat at the distance. Also, with the same here, you can just get it in here, and maybe it's leaving a trail. You see, where's Ben? There. So there you go. You have your first exercise of how to create muscle memory by going across the paper and lines, and how to be able to see how much pressure we need to add into the paper to get as dark or as light as we need to. Okay, so I hope you will do this one. I do this daily, this kind of exercises, and they really help me to keep my pulse a lot more steady than it used to be. So good luck to you, and thank you for drawing with me. Till next time.